Hi there, Jamie Goode here, tasting wine on camera. Tonight I'm very excited to be looking at a range of 4 different Sancerres from the Loire Valley, Sauvignon Blanc from Sancerres, one of the greatest expressions of the variety. And this is from Pascal Jolivet. And the first one I'm going to begin with is the regular Sancerres. It's a very interesting expression of Sauvignon. It's quite ripe, and there's a very smooth texture to it, and it's got some breadth on the palate, and some of those slightly tropical flavours, as well as a nice citrus underpinning. And the citrus, I think, frames it really nicely. This is a very stylish wine in the riper style. And it's totally different to the sort of incredibly zippy, sort of slightly pungent Marlborough style of Sauvignon. This is a bit more textured, but it still has freshness, still has acidity, and just a bit broader. Really nice mouthfeel. Good wine. Right, let's go to the second wine, and we're going to go to Clos du Roi, and this is again the 2017 vintage. And what's interesting about Sancerres is it's got really good soils, really good wine growing soils. And you go there and you see, there's quite a limestone there, and yet there are differences between different vineyards. And I think this is what's interesting, is that the growers there that I've spoken to and have tasted with are very focused on these small differences between their plots. And even though the main soil tends to be the same, it tends to be limestone based. They differentiate amongst the different sorts of limestone, and also the clay content, and also there's sometimes flint in the soils as well. And there are different names for each of these different soils. And so for a long time the growers there have lived with this understanding of terroir, the idea that different sites produce different wines. And for them it's a reality. And yet in the new world, I think terroir is often seen with suspicion, that people were making things up, or that it's a marketing ploy, but there it's very much a reality. So it's nice to be able to taste now 3 different Sancerres from different plots, and to see, well, are they really that different? The climate's going to be very similar. These are all 3 south-facing plots in the same village, so the climate is going to be quite similar. So the main difference here we're going to experience would be the winemaking. Well, it's the same wine grower, so that's presumably the same for all 3, or similar for all 3. Otherwise, we're looking at differences caused by the different soils and different sites that the Sauvignon is grown on. So, Clos du Roi. It's got a density. It's a bit denser than the regular Sancerre. There's a sort of mineral streak to it. It's a little bit pithy. There's lots happening there. It's got good acidity. It's got this mineral streak. Maybe even some green pepper. Yeah, for me that's got a depth and intensity to it, and it's a wine I think that's obviously not yet reached its peak. It's a wine that you don't want to drink straight away. And it's the thing about Sancerre is that it's Sauvignon Blanc, but it's Sauvignon Blanc that does age quite well when it comes from the right sites, which is unusual. It's a denser wine, really interesting. Let's go to Les Caillottes. This is totally different. Whereas the Clos du Roi was denser and a bit pithy, some green pepper, some green spectrum notes on that. This is this kind of dances with you. It's got base notes, it's got the richness and ripeness, maybe some tropical notes, but it's also got really crisp grapefruit citrus with the treble end. So it's got bass and treble, very lively. It's a beautiful wine, very delicate, light in its feet, yet not lacking any intensity at all. Really, really expressive, delicious wine. And finally, the Chêne Marchand. I really like the sort of lemony mineral framing to this. It's very linear. It kind of goes like this in terms of the flavour. There's a spicy lemony complexity. It's really citrusy, but there's a little bit of richness there as well. Quite an elegant style of wine. Crisp, taut, some grapefruit. Yeah, and a really nice integrated acid core there. So what's striking about these three wines is how different they are. You know, you'd expect that given the proximity and the similarities in the soils, you know, overall it's mainly limestone based soils, that they'd be much more similar than they are. But obviously there's something specific about these sites that's conferring very different characters on them. As far as I know, they're all made in pretty much the same way. And what the wine grower here has done is allowed those sites to express themselves in quite different ways. And it's lovely to be able to try them side by side like this. We have the Clos du Roi, which is more pithy, a bit more green, denser, a little more burly. We have the Caillotte, which is it's all bass and treble. It's lively and delicate, yet it has a sweet core to it. And then we have this Chêne Marchand, which is more linear with a lemony acid core. All three very nice wines, all different, and that's what I love about wine. It's this idea that somehow that if you are a sensitive wine grower, you can, and you interpret the terroir in a really interesting way, you can make fascinating wines that reflect their place in this mystical and wonderful and fabulous way. So anyway, there you go. Pascal Jolivet, Sancerres, 4 examples, 4 quite different wines. Thanks for watching.